Hello everyone, welcome back to the vlog. New day, new shirt. So, as you can already tell from the title of the video, today is the start of what's going to be a very in-depth build series, or I should even call it a repair series, on that black S13. Now it does need quite a bit, which is everything that this build series is going to address. Today is day one of what I will be doing on this car, and basically, for starters, it just needs to be, I guess, evaluated for exactly how I want to attack this and make sure I'm as efficient as I can be with this whole process. So the first part of any build or any sort of maintenance ever is to get the car inside. So before we get to work on the 13, we got all these ZXs here. Look. Boof. Boof. Yeah. All these ZXs. One of the owners is here. The homie. Jeez, look at you. Say hi.
What's up? YouTube, internet. Motivating and, talk.
There it is.
Joke.
Haha, LOLs. Alright, so the 13. There's a lot wrong with it. The major issue here is it more than likely jump timing. The only way we can get it to run is to super retard the cast past the actual bolt holes on the cast. So that obviously leads us to believe it's a timing issue. This car needs Jesus. So that's what it sounds like when it runs. But we'll take the valve cover off. We'll look at the time marks to make sure that that is the issue. I mean, worst case, obviously, when a motor jumps timing, well, we're not even gonna talk about that. Well, step one, let's just get the valve cover off and make sure that everything is the way it's supposed to. Alright, so valve cover off, and yep, just like we thought, timing is way off. Look at these dots. Alright, so the engine's broken down more, the intake manifold is off, the fuel rail's out, and I can see the mess that's under there. No joke, the SR20 coolant lines under the intake manifold are ridiculous. A lot of these are capped off or looped back, and I'll show you that in a second. It's absolutely ridiculous. But first, these are AN fittings. For those that don't know, do not use Teflon tape on AN fittings. The sealing surface is the tip. The conical part is where the seal is made. Teflon tape on AN fittings do nothing but muck up the threads and make the fittings more difficult to use. Stop doing this. It does not do anything. It doesn't work. It's not how these work. So with these coolant lines, look how much of a mess this is. And I can only imagine that there's plenty of other people out there doing this exact same thing. Now, I'm gonna clean all of this up, and it's not gonna be the same as this is. This is ridiculous. I counted the clamps. There's like 12 clamps in here, and it doesn't need to be. Look. And that line there, this line here, and this one here are tied into each other with this plastic T-fitting behind the head with no clamps on it, and that is the coolant line that runs to the turbo. And in general, you can see that it's just kind of a mess in here. Wires are all over the place, nothing is attached. These fuel lines, all of this is going to be cleaned up. Alright, so most of the engine is apart, and digging through it, the more and more I dig through it, the more and more things I see that need fixing. And it's not just rerouting lines anymore, it's now full-on replacing stuff. So of course the coolant situation is a mess, but then on the turbo side, the oil lines are a mess, and the oil lines are a mess. Pretty sure the power steering is coming out, and in addition to that, I need to actually remake these oil lines for the turbo. Oh, that's a water line. Oops. Correction, it's a water line. So the water lines going in and out of the turbo are both destroyed. They're collapsed internally, they're twisted, and they're basically melted. And even the way it's routed, just kind of sitting on top of the cup filler like that, it's not a best case scenario, but all that's going to be fixed, of course. So 100%, this front cover is going to have to come off. It's just a little too risky to just say that at jump timing, especially when the belt is so tight, especially when the chain is so tight, and there's kind of just no evidence of anything being broken in there. And I got all the wire harness stuff out of the way. All of this is going to be rerouted, and it's just going to be a whole lot better than what it was. It's just a little too messy and just a little too everywhere for it to be acceptable. Alright, so it's already midnight. I'm going to finish by getting the motor stripped down all the way to the short block. So turbo manifold's about to come off, power steering pump's going to come off, alternator's going to come off, basic stuff. But I'd like to get it stripped down there. It's pretty far along. I mean, it wasn't difficult to remove. A lot of this stuff is going to be replaced and redone. Yeah, you'll see. Alright, so the whole turbo assembly is out. That was a little bit more difficult than I thought it'd be. The hardware is like, it's mixed up. Some of it was 15, some of it was 14. I'm guessing it was a 15 at one point, but it was actually stripped out so much that it became a 14. And fortunately, none of them were tight, so it was pretty easy to get them off. Same thing with the downpipe. There was only one nut holding it on, and it wasn't even tight. So, I mean, I guess that's normal, right? So, I haven't inspected the turbo yet, so let's look at it together. So, it actually doesn't look that bad. The exhaust side is really, really clean. It's uniform, none of the blades are chipped. The play is actually pretty good. It's got a little bit, but it's pretty normal. So, this is the oil return. It's just a regular rubber hose. There was no clamp on the upper side where it attaches to the turbo. And then here, like I was saying with the Teflon tape on AN fittings, see, it mucks it up. That right there is just like a yucky paste at this point. I'm not going to keep touching it. When I remove the water feed off of this plastic T-fitting, that is what was under it. Completely melted, and this U-shape. it was actually leaking. If you squeeze the upper radiator hose, you could actually get that fitting to leak. So obviously that's not working out. And here is our water feed line. So you can see here what I was talking about with it being collapsed internally and twisted. That's the feed line. And then this side is actually what attaches to the block. You can see it was pretty much stripped out. Again, it wasn't that tight, so it wasn't difficult to get off. But this is why we do these things. All of these little issues are all going to be addressed and all going to be repaired as this build series goes on. If you want to see Mark III Super stuff, that's coming up really, really soon. If you want to see more FD stuff, 1J or otherwise, you want to see more Integra stuff, or if you just want to see more stuff in general, subscribe, like, comment, share, all that stuff. Stay tuned because there are a lot more of these videos coming. There's so much more content coming in the form of something like what you just saw to minor upgrades or full everything. Just everything is coming. So I'll say it again: like, comment, subscribe, share. Throw that one in there. And when you subscribe, please make sure you hit the bell icon, and you'll get notified as soon as I upload new videos. In fact, you'll know before I post it anywhere. For a little bit anyway. So, thanks for watching. Till next time.